Okay, welcome to the F-16 here at Need 0 Point. I'm going to be running through a demo of an academic range exercise that I built, that I used for practice for weaponeering, basic weaponeering, and also for flying circuits here at Need 0 because it's quite challenging. It's quite a short runway for these jets. I'll get this started up. We'll head over to the range. It's about 20 miles away to the east, and I'll talk to you as I'm taxiing. Okay, so it's a taxi out then. I'm going to turn the helmet mounted the display off. Now we may use it later on in the sortie. As we taxi out, I've got 32 X-rays attack and set for the airfield here. I'm not using it at the moment. I do have waypoints set in the exercise. Waypoint 1 is a threshold, 2 is a range entry point, 3 is a bombing circle, 4 is a strafe panel, and 5 is the initials point back here for my 17 for the recovery. I put a course bar into 135. That's our attack heading for the academic range, so that will be useful to have set. Got my altimeter, that's set to airfield elevation here at Need 0 Point because we're going to use that for any pop attacks, so we do need to have that set. Weapons wise, if we look outside, we've got 6 of the mighty death weapons, the little small practice bombs, so they emit smoke whenever they impact, but they have the same profile as a Mark 82 low drag. I've set it to category 2 for the stores config. We could actually get away with category 1 or very light, but we'll simulate the handling as if we were carrying heavier bombs. Be a dry power takeoff at this weight in the F-16. It's about the runway length. It's plenty long enough to get airborne. Loose wheel steering's off. Everything else looks good. Turn out some voltage on a little bit. You do not want to have it too bright for out of ground weaponeering, but we do want to be able to see it. Okay, and rolling. Gear travels. Gear's clean. Just going to throttle back a bit. We'll get up to about 420 knots for the transit, and then we'll try and hold that. That's only going to need about 84-85% with this weight aircraft. Okay, heading towards the range. I've got a waypoint 2. That'll help you see it when we get there. I will climb up to a couple thousand feet. But basically we're just following the channel between the Isle of Wight and the south coast. And if we look ahead to the far side of all these little estuaries, the last one, there is an inlet directly opposite us, going away from us, and the river there bends round towards the right and then to the left, and just after it bends to the left there's a tributary on the right, and our waypoint entry is just before that. It's set around 84% and see where that settles us. Right, master arms coming on. We're going to go to air to ground. We do have 6 of the practice bombs. We'll set them up. We'll start initially in CCIP. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do guns from the 10-degree dive pattern. So I'll show you the academic range first. It's a bombing circle and a strafe panel that have been set up. Height of the pattern, it's a standard ground track that we're going to fly. I'll show you that. If you fly it at 2,000 feet, it'll give you a 10-degree dive. If you fly at 8,000 feet, it will give you a 30-degree dive. If you want a 20, then somewhere around about 6,000 should work for that. You do fly ground tracks, you would adjust for the wind. We have 0 wind on the mission set at the moment. So there's no wind to worry about affecting your dives onto the target. Obviously just the wind if you want to make it more challenging, and to just experience what it's like bombing or strafing with a side wind. You'll need to be holding one wing down. We'll join for range recce, which is a low pass over the targets, and I'll show you the targets. And then it'll be a climbing left-hand turn onto downwind, and I'll point out the ground features that we head for. Then we turn crosswind, and then we're looking for cues for our dive in towards the target. Off target, we'll try and remember to check the fuel, so we're 600 on the entry. And then what we're going to do next. We'll do a couple of academic passes, 10, 30, and then we'll go out and we'll do some pop attacks based off the INOS. Okay, so you can see the point is pretty much on our range entry point, just right of the HUD there. We've got 4 ISO containers in a line. In fact, there's 8 ISO containers, 4 red, 4 white, lined up towards the bombing target. So that's your cue for a level pattern, which I'm probably not going to get time to show you today. But we're going to fly down here, heading to 135. Heading towards the targets. For the bombing circle, you're looking just past that little lake just to the right of our nose. For the strafe panel, it's just to the left of our nose. So you can see the strafe panel there to the left. On the bombing circle here, so there's sand with an ISO container in the middle, and you got white bars helping you align up to each. Okay, for the recovery then, generally you're going to go at least 10 degrees nose up, climbing left-hand turn. If you're in an aircraft that can, keep it inside this town here, but some of the aircraft will struggle, especially if you're going too fast. And we are aiming to point towards the large town between these 2 villages. So we've got the village there just to the right of our nose, and the village there just to our left. 2,000 feet is what we want. We're going to leave our power set to get at 420. We'll get there eventually. We're going to lose a bit in the turns, and then we'll gain it in the dives. We want to be strafing at around about 420. Just to try and have something that's stable. And the idea of academic range work is to work up a stable platform that you can then take into the wild against targets of opportunity, but you'll have a stable pattern you can fly and apply to it. So we fly around the back of this village, gives our ground track, pointing towards the coast, and look for this little clearing in this other town that's on the coast. So there's an area there with fields on it, and then look towards your target. We're looking for the strafe panel, left hand target, 20 degrees to run or so. You want to turn level, and then just as you're approaching your lineup, we can overbank, or we can bring our fixed cross just above the target. We're pretty well lined up. Range is unwinding, in range, recover. Right, we're a bit slow on that one. Recovery's good, turning around to downwind. This time we're going to try to dive onto the bombing circle. So we're level at 2,000. We want it to be tipping in. Let's try 350 or so. So we'll get ourselves there. Right, now setting 84. So fuel's good, 6,300 off our first run. Speed's better. Probably going to be a bit fast this time. Turning around the back of our village. Looking towards the coast. Try and get the height consistent. Let's try and get our speed consistent. And this time we're looking for the bombing circle. So you got that lake as a good cue. If you can't see it, 20 to 30 degrees to run, level. And we're going to talk about aim off, and I'm going to put my flight path marker on There's an icing container just the far side of the water channel, and I'm going to put my fly path marker there. We want the bomb fall line running through the target. Ready on the button, ready on the button, ready on the button. Recover. Pickled probably a little bit short. Yeah, slightly short. Right, let's go up into 30. So going full power. Same ground track. So we're pointing towards the town. Aiming between the two, pointing towards the city, aiming between the two towns or villages. And we're climbing to 8,000 feet. Turning around the back of our village, pointing towards the town on the coast. Level there at 8. And it's going to look quite different here. I'm going to go a wire. Basically, if you're steep, then you can make an adjustment. So you would try and shallow it out. If you're shallow, then you would make an adjustment and try and steepen it. So again, over banking. Aim off now is going to be just on the beach on this side, just above where the target is. So we're a little bit steep, so try and shallow it out.
Altitude.
One adjustment.
Altitude.
Still slightly steep, but better. Pickle.
Pull up. Pull up.
And I'll show you one more of those back into the climb. And that was pretty much spot on. So back up to 8,000 feet, pointing towards our city, between the villages. Fuel's good at 5,900. It's quite fast off the bottom of that, so we'll try not to be quite so fast at the top. I'm going to set by 99. A little bit tight, but as long as I get this horizontal leg the same, I will be fine. Leveling off there at 8. Speed's 300 at the top now. And tipping in. Right, steep again. So we probably want to move that line just a little bit further right. There's my adjustment. Bomb fall line through the target. Pickle.
Pull up. Pull up.
Good hit. Right. Next we're going to fly a pop attack. So we're going to fly an INS pop attack. Okay, so outbound, heading 345. So our action range is 5.3 nautical miles. At 5.3 nautical miles, we're going to turn out by 20 degrees and we're going to turn to the right. So we tip into the left. 4.2 nautical miles, we're going to pitch 20 degrees nose up, and then we're going to hold that, look left 11 for the target, trying to acquire the target area. 4,700 feet, we're going to overbank to around about 135 degrees angle up bank, and we're going to pull the HUD down to the target and prosecute the attack. Should put us on a 20 degree wire, and these ranges and heights are for the target at sea level. Our final attack heading there is 30 degrees off our approach, which should put us close to the 135 that we're looking for on the academy range. That's why we're running out behind 345 to come in 165. We're 9 miles outbound, so I'll put that away. So 5.3 initial action, 4.2 pull up, 4,700 feet is our apex to give us the right dive angle. So what we'll do now is turn in to the waypoint. 165, good. So 5.3 is our first action. We're at 9.9, it'll happen pretty quickly. We want to try and get 420 knots, so our figures work. If we're going faster, we just end up steeper. 8.7 miles. It will all happen quite quickly. 5.3, 4.2, 4,700. Just keep reminding yourself. Fuel's at 51. 6.3, a mile to go. .3, turning out by 20 degrees. Looking for 4.2. 4.2. Pulling up. Speed's okay. Maybe a little bit fast. Holding 20. Looking 4,700. Looking for my target area. Got the lake. Got the bombing circle. Right. Try and hold 20. Looking for 4,700. Looking for 4,700. Got my target well now. 47. Over banking. And 20 degrees,
Altitude.
we probably want
Altitude.
the flight path marker somewhere in the water. A little bit steep, but we'll take it. Bomb fall line through the target.
Pull up. Pull up.
Recovery level or slightly climbing before we turn. And that's a good bomb. I'll do one more of those. Feels good at 5,000. What we'll do, we'll drop this one on auto. That's CCRP to show you that. Make the HUD soy, so I can adjust it and the aim if I need to. We've got 2 bombs left, so one we're down with a pop, and then I'm going to show you a loft attack. It's the final attack. Alright, let's turn in there. So heading's reasonable. So the change this time, we want to fly our flight path marker to the bomb fall line. Press and hold the release button before we get the release cue. Okay. This is an F-16, so it is a little bit different to some of the others, but it's probably similar to most other aircraft that have a CCRP delivery. Right. Speed's coming under control. There's 5.3 turning out. Looking for 4.2. Speed's good. 4.2 popping. Holding 20 degrees nose up. Okay, I've got my target area. Holding 20, looking for 4,700. Even though it's auto, we're still going to fly our attack profile. There's 4,700.
Altitude. Altitude.
So, flight path marker. I'm just going to move the mark down onto the
Pull up.
bomb should have come off there. And it did, went slightly long. Right, we're going to run outbound 315. Because effectively we're going to run in directly to target. And we're going to try a lofted attack. So I'm just going to recycle the waypoint. And this one we're going to run in at 540 knots. And that's so we can throw the bomb a bit further. 5 miles, just inside 5 miles. We're going to pitch up to just less than 50 degrees angle of bank and hold it until the bomb comes off if it hasn't already. Feels good at 4,400, 1 bomb left. Alright, heading's good on the run in. This is not an entirely accurate way of delivering bombs, but it's accurate enough for things like cluster bombs or a large group of bombs. Looking for 5 miles to pull up. That's our pull-up cue from the computer. Alright, bomb should be gone. Now we could evade, chat flare, etc. Well, we'll just watch our bomb out of curiosity.
Altitude. Altitude.
See if it hits. A little bit long. A little bit long and slightly left. Right, let's head back to Nido Point. So loft attack, not the most accurate attack, but it does give you a lot of standoff. If you go faster, you can loft it from further away. Right, let's go master arm off, switch is safe. Back to nav mode. I'll go back into a couple of circuits. Gonna set my course bar to the runway in use. Set the recovery to waypoint 5. Although I'm gonna see if the attack count works. I think it's bugged at the moment. It certainly looks to be still bugged. For the recovery back to Nidzor, you're basically flying down this channel again. The last of the estuaries that run in. Take that, and then there's 2 industrial areas you just fly between towards the top of a river, and that'll put you on the initials for runway 17. We're transiting in the knee board. You've got attack profiles. That's a 20-degree dive. 20 degrees up, 20 degrees down. Attack profile 3, 30 degree up, 30 degree down. So you'll see we'll pull up slightly closer, but we're holding it for longer. Do we get a 6.6 this time? Keep a steeper dive. Generally, steeper dives give you more accurate attacks at the expense of more exposure. We've got a 10 degree dive, so climb to 20, 10 degree down, based on a 420 knot aircraft. And then we've got a 300 knot attack for the slower practice jets, the trainer jets, like the 339 and the C101. So they'll again go 20 up and 10 down, but they're doing it from much closer in towards the target. So for the recovery here, say take the last inlet here. You got these 2 big industrial, one large industrial area, small industrial area. Fly between the 2, and we're pointing to the northern part of that river that we can just see, and that will line us up nicely for runway 17. We're going to join dead side, so that is the opposite side of the runway to the circuit. We're going to fly left-hand circuits at 1,000 feet. I'm going to do a few for practice, but if you want, then just call it quits there. Otherwise, I'll fly some circuits for practice. I'll talk through what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. It might help. The wind is calm, so my normal tip-in point I'm going to extend slightly for finals. Otherwise we're flying an oval racetrack type circuit pattern. I'll brake for 500 feet, so I'll be quite civilised. And I'll brake at least 2/3 of the way down the runway because the wind is calm and the runway is short. Line 13 on the brake roll. Okay, leveling off there at 1,000. Try not to float when the flaps come down. Spacing looks good. Heading slightly out at the moment, so coming around at 3.5. 100 feet high. That's where I normally tip in, so we'll just extend. Slightly tipping in. Light winds. Let's make the first part of the turn good. Putting the flight path marker in the top of the bracket, generally for a 16 is what I like to use. Halfway around it should be 750 to 700 feet, so that actually looks quite reasonable at the moment. Let's keep the turn coming. Using power from my altitude, so if I feel I'm low, there I'm going to put a little power on and using my stick for speed. So now I'm going to be fast as I roll out and I'll lose that drag from turning. So I ended up a little bit fast and a little bit high, which is kind of the worst combination. So we're going to overshoot. Gear travels. Set 90 because I'm going to stay on the circuit. Climbing to 1,000. So the initial part of the turn was fine, but then I just didn't sort my power out. Didn't anticipate when I rolled out from the turn. So with the 16 especially, it's got a lot of drag in the turn. And once you stop turning, you need to compensate for that quite quickly. Gear travels. We'll make this another one to roll. Heading's good. Spacing's good. Turn-in was good last time. It was just the second part of the turn that wasn't. Okay, so my normal turn-in's at 45-degree angle looking back towards our touchdown point, which would be there. So just extending and then turning in. So once on approach, stick for speed, or AOA, which is interchangeable really, and power for rate of descent. So if I'm too high I need to take power off. If I'm too low I need to put power on. This looks good. This looks much better. Just anticipating the rollout there, so I've got power coming off and the stick coming back to keep that under control. This looks better. Yeah, normally too there's masses of bloody trees in the undershoot, so try not to get high and then dive. Gear travels. Gears clean, 90%. Turning downwind. Let's make this one to land. That was much better. Have enough there, 1,000 less than 300 gear travels. Don't want a balloon. The flaps come down. So let's sort that out. Right, we need to get the turn on. I've crept in a little bit. Turn around final, so we'll use that extra speed I've got just to turn in. Halfway around, I want 750 to 700, so I'm a little bit high. So we'll just take power off. And we're rolling out at 400 feet, so that's better now. Right, 3 greens we'll have. I'm gonna go idle and just take the speed brake just to a flare. And then we'll hold the nose wheel up and we'll aerodynamic brake initially until we get down to the cross runways. As we're approaching those, that's a good idea to lower the nose and start braking. We're under control, nose wheel steering comes on, speed brakes come in. Seat safe, canopy up. Okay, so that's the academic range, and need 0 point with jets. If you can land an F-16 on this, you can land most anything else. The only jet I've got on here that struggles a little bit is the C-101. If you try and put too much fuel in it or too many stores on it, it just doesn't like getting airborne. But the 339 works well, everything else works well. There's Mirage on here, there's F5s. The F5 is quite a nice little jet. Fully fly, slightly wider circuit pattern than you would in the F-16 here, but it's very similar. And just done bombing. There is a TACAN on the range itself. I'll add that to the mission briefing. That's 33 X-ray, and you got 32 X-ray here on the airfield here. That's just if you have an aircraft without inertial nav and you want to fly pop attacks, you could use a TACAN. Just for practice, normally you would navigate to a physical point on the ground and pop from there. In that kind of era of aircraft. If you're interested in the mission, just let me know and I can pass it to you. You will need a mod. It's 479 range targets mod. It's very easy to install. It's very useful to have, but that gives you the strafe circle, the strafe panel and the bombing circle. So you will need to have that mod installed. I've never had an issue with conflicts with that particular one. I've had that one on for years, and it works very well. Okay, thanks for watching.